Good evening, everybody. This is Casey Reginald Jr.
It's your man J-Dub, Justin Waters in the building.
Jay Swish, Joel Swisher in the house.
This is Underdawg Sportz. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Casey Reginald Jr.
It's your man J.W. Justin Waters in the building.
It's your man Joel Swisher, a.k.a. Jay Swish in the house.
We got a lot to cover today, so let's get right into it. We're going to start off with the NFL owners having an opt-out of some of these contracts.
So, because of the COVID virus, a lot of these NFL players were not able to travel to get to their destinations, i.e., of course, travel bans in New York, Seattle, well, Washington State in general, now Chicago, Miami, and Atlanta. There's a rumor speculating that some of the owners who committed to certain players at the top of free agency may be falling back on this and may rethink some ideas about current players, whether the situation was, so-and-so's available when he wasn't available at the top of free agency. The reason why I'm bringing this up is it looks like this is going down, and I don't think this is fair to the players. So if you committed to me for X amount of dollars, but, hey, someone may get released or traded that may be a better value, you still should commit to me because you committed to me in the first place. It's just I can't come over the time because I can't travel to get.
And now other teams don't have this money to spend that they had before that probably would have been interested in me.
That is correct.
So definitely be a disadvantage to the players. This is like buying a new car. You wish you had that grace period to say, I don't want this mug anymore, but you don't really have it. I don't think you can come to an agreement and take advantage of a pandemic to back out of contracts.
Yeah, this is the lemon law type situation. I don't know if this is great for football, but this is what it is. Joe, what do you think on that?
Well, I don't want to, I guess maybe you play devil's advocate. I guess, sometimes we see players do this too. I don't know if we do see it more so in the NFL. I know we see it more so in the NBA where players and teams agree to something and maybe like the player backs out of it. We saw Marcus Wilson that last year, so you see players do it all the time too. But I don't think it's if you agree to something, it should be agreed upon. Nobody should have to renege or anything.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's fair at all. But there's a flip side to this. Look what happens with high school players in college, where they commit to a team. And by any means, it's changed. The game changes, coach leaves, the team gets suspended. I'm stuck with them. So it could be an opt-out. If you haven't signed a contract to get a check, there could be an opt-out because what if even though he signed his contract and clearly seen it, what if Tom Brady all of a sudden had to change of heart and wanted to go to New England? It would be NFL madhouse happening, but not to say that it's impossible. So I do think it's treading on. If you're going to play this game, as far as the owners are concerned, then they need to play it on both scales. So the owners the owners can do it, but so can the player. It's the only way I think it will be going down, and it's fair.
Yeah, I think if you just but basically you in essence would be saying let's start over with free agency. That's what it seems like to me. If everybody can now decide, I don't want to go here because this place looks more attractive now. Like, what was the point of all those agreements?
I agree.
I have a question. So, can people all the time sign leases electronically or sign contracts electronically? So why can't that work in the NFL? Why can't these teams and players agree to do something like that? But, especially now with the situation that we're facing right now with this virus.
That's a great question. The only point I'd have to say about that is if they do it here's the thing. There's a lot of money involved with signing that paper. If you do opt out, then there should be a penalty. Just like if you break a lease for an apartment. If you do, yeah, you're free to leave, but you got to pay the next month's rent or the penalty or whatever for you signing it. This would alleviate the whole, wishy-washy mentality. Because let's get a player. I'll use a great one, Antonio Brown. Now, if he has that option to leave, he would have left Pittsburgh and went to Oakland. I mean, technically he did, but he didn't do it he did it in a ruckus type way. And to be a Patriot. If we want to play it fair, then any money that you get, actually, it should be a penalty, period. If you sign with us and then you all of a sudden don't feel it and want to change your mind, okay, cool. But you owe us now this because you committed to us. We're putting in money for your jerseys, your advertising, and everything else. But I agree. If you be able to opt out, then it should be that way.
So the owners would have that same penalty if they decided to renege on the contract too, then, or they'd have to pay a portion of that contract as a early termination fee, basically.
Correct.
Right.
Wow. All righty. I don't know how that would work. Like you can early terminate your contract just for a couple $100,000. Owners would be doing that, taking advantage of that with some of these veteran contracts.
Well, in Arena League back in the day, back in the 2000s, they had what they call the slang term was the emancipation clause, which basically, if I'm not happy with the team, I can give up half my salary or all my bonuses and get out scot-free. And I can go anywhere I want. They can't say anything. But the reason why the NFL won't do it is because the CBA laws and there's too much guaranteed money with it. That the Arena League back, AFL2 didn't have that much money revenue generating. They barely had the ESPN contract at the time. But I think if they're going to play it that way, then that would be the way to go. And the owners, you ain't got no other option, bro. That's it.
So this is basically kind of like the NBA buyouts.
Yeah, pretty much. But not a once per 10-year deal. So you could do it more often than not.
That would be very intriguing. To be a lot of player movement in the National Football League that way. A lot of player movement. Mm-hmm. Speaking of movement and stirring the pot, your boy Eric Reed he don't want to play this year, I think. He's decided to say that there was some verbiage in the owners and players agreement that was not in what the players had to vote for. So he's saying this vote should not count. Is this serious? Are we going to an arbiter? What's happening with this?
Big mess, I'll be honest with you. Eric Reed, basically, before he got released, was not happy with the new CBA. He thought that he used terms like slavery and blasphemy as far as the CBA is concerned. Then he gets released. And everybody kind of knew he was going to get released from Carolina because they were basically cleaning house of everything dealing with the old regime under Ron Rivera. But Eric Reed has now got a lawyer, a law association to critique the contract and feel the players should go ahead and rethink the idea of this contract because he feels that it does not make any sense. It's nothing but having for the owners, and the players are foolhardy by going by this deal. I think none of the above because you had over 1,500 players vote one way or another. It was a large number. But, yeah. And also, you're right. I don't think everybody wants to play in the NFL anymore because now he's going to be that guy that's going to be, I told you, somewhat of going down with Kaepernick as the, the Black Panther in a sense. And the NFL, which is still a all white boys network as far as ownership system, ain't going to like that.
Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I agreed. I don't know how serious he can even take the day, or it seems like he's just always he's always involved in controversy. I mean, it's always something. It's like he's never satisfied with anything. And, to your point that, he doesn't even want to play anymore. I mean, why even go out and even try to, make him out as personally. That's my personal opinion. But, I think it's done. Everything's fine to deliver. I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't think they're going to go back and, change their mind about what's been agreed upon, not upon. I think it's just, like you said, Reed stirring the pot.
Yeah. I definitely agree he's stirring the pot. I guess I get his motivation if he is actually trying to care about the players. I think he knows he's done. I think he knows that no one's gonna deal with him any longer. They can now have somebody say, "I told you so." We let this guy back in, and he just, at every chance he gets, he tries to disturb the peace in the National Football League. And I'm not saying the reason he kneeled was not a justified reason, but I am saying that, like, you have decided to continuously criticize your employer in public, and ultimately they have the right to say you're not talented enough for all this fuss.
Very true. I'm about to say, how many Pro Bowls or All Pros did Eric Reed ever got? Then you gone to one Pro Bowl in San Francisco. Other than that, there hasn't been anything else. So he is collateral damage, especially as he gets older. I think he's about to hit 31, if I'm not mistaken. I just think this is a little too late for Eric Reed. If you were going to have this debate, then you should have been talking to some of your fellow players before they had this vote. This vote is on a month now. It's over. There's other bigger fish to fry as far as the NFL and the world is concerned. So you trying to get arbitration and a lawyer and all this other stuff to go ahead and do what? Because even if the NFL changed their mind and the NFLPA changed their mind and they did a revote and everything, it still doesn't guarantee Eric Reed is going to be on the field. He could say he's doing it for his brothers in the NFL, but at the end of the day, this is a for-profit organization. This is a for-profit company, meaning the NFL and the players that are involved with the NFL. So, dude, if you trying to do it as a moral citizen and not get paid, you'd be lying. And I don't know what to tell you, but no owner in this right mind right now. And Eric Reed is still talented, but I don't think he's going to get picked up. Remember, there's rumors of him wanting to go play for the Texans to be with his brother, but I damn sure know the Texans ain't going to pick him up when they can't even keep some of the guys they got on there, like D-Hop.
Yeah, they technically have the most available cap room right now. I just don't see Bill O'Brien dealing with that personality or trying to deal with that personality. And he's the one that makes the decisions in Houston, so there's just not a chance in hell.
Right now.
Right, that is true. I don't see it, but it's where you can try, but good luck.
Well,
I can tell you.
I'm pretty sure that the only place that would probably bring him in is the land of cast-offs, known as Las Vegas, in the NFL, just because they are the land of cast-offs.
Not Vegas.
They're still the Raiders, bro. I don't care where they go. They're still the Raiders. That's
John
the land of chaos. The NFL draft is going virtual as the top draft picks have been invited to participate in the NFL draft virtually. Good call, trying to keep some type of entertainment.
I think it is. I mean, let's just keep it real. The NFL has been out of season. At least with the NBA, they had a season until it was interrupted. MLB was about to start. NFL was on, of course, it's on its law part because obviously we're past the Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, and everything else. And we had just did the combine. So in that between time, you just got free agency and pro days until the draft comes. Right now, the draft is they're cashed out because there's nothing else going on in the NFL, just like any other sports, but rerun. Free agency is now probably pretty much dead unless someone gets cut or traded. That will be shocked at, but I think that's over yet. The draft is their biggest thing, so why not keep it going? If you push it too far, these kids ain't going to be ready for the particular team, and there's nothing to scout. That's my biggest thing. The scouts already know what they're going to pick by now. It's just process of elimination on their board. So I don't think it's a bad move by, just having it now, having it when it's supposed to be at the end of this month or end of April.
Yeah, I love the idea of not moving the draft. I don't want to say capitalized, but they did take advantage of not having any competition during free agency to where the world kind of got a break by just listening to these signings that may or may not be final, who knows, and to try to expand the draft, to try to introduce technology to the draft, and at the same time showcase these kids, try to give these kids the moment that they've dreamed of as close as you can during this pandemic, does not hurt anyone.
That's a great. I just don't. It's to the point where with this, why change it? I mean, everybody knows that it's going virtual anyway. But the thing is with the draft, there's no practicing, there's no hitting. It is all about numbers and seeing a bunch of kids get happy because this is the time of their life. And then whenever the season starts, at least you know the team you're on. What are you going to push it back to? July, August? If we're past the pandemic by that point. But now you run into different things like the NBA. You're running into things like baseball trying to get started. So why not have your moment while your moment is still alive because there's nothing else going on and just go for it?
And just for the fans, too. I mean, it's a distraction of all what we're going through right now. Is have the draft at the regular time. It's going to be a good distraction for us football fans when there's no other sports on right now. So I think it's more so we should look out for the fans too.
Exactly.
Yeah, we could all use a good distraction, especially in the light of just every day, all day, pandemic this, pandemic
Right.
that. And I'm tired of watching Super Bowl reruns. It's just, a different time. Moving on to the XFL's Diamonds in the Rough. You called them, Justin. I called them the league of their own. They've decided to, your team alone, like 5 guys.
Yeah, now it's 5. It was 3, but now it's 5 guys from the XFL they picked up. 3 of them got a solid contract. The other got 2-way contracts, which, those are the kind of non-guaranteed ones. But like I said, the XFL got to be the new farm league for the NFL, a farm league that they've never had. And I think that's a cool factor because a lot of these guys you probably won't see any other way, or they'll be buried with the superstars. You'll be buried with these high draft picks and everything, so why not? Because I can say it right now. I would take P.J. Walker over, I hate to say it, but I would take P.J. Walker over Joe Burrow right now. Joe Burrow may be rusty. P.J. Walker look like he got some mobility. If you put him in the right system, he may shine a lot. That's why I think homeboys from Carolina took a chance and picked him up, picked up his old former player. We never know what we're going to get. I mean, in the NFL, of course, they love old stories. They're also thinking about, okay, this could be the next Kurt Warner. As long as there's a Kurt Warner out there, the NFL can take it. As long as it's that type of story.
Yeah, I definitely.
I wonder if I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Oh, I was gonna say, I wonder if there'd be any kind of way the NFL would make some kind of like official deal. Like, I wonder if they'd ever go that route, to make it like an official like minor league system. I mean, I know 2 separate companies, but maybe they could make some kind of like official deal.
I can see that. I mean, that's one that makes the NFL now at least 24/7 or almost 24/7 and almost 365 days a year. As soon as the Super Bowl's over with, that's what? February, XFL starts February. Let's give it till at least April. Then when the XFL season ends is the draft. And once the draft's over and preseason camp, then you can all of a sudden start talking about NFL starting all over again. So it's not a bad concept, to be honest with you.
So you see a world where Vince McMahon partners with the NFL?
Why not? Why not?
Anything can happen.
You got to think long term with this one. The NFL has no type of minor league system. They haven't had one since they tried that NFL Europe experiment that busted.
Awful.
Canadian football does not want to be NFL junior, and Arena League football is no longer existent. But if the NFL can go ahead and remember the NFL 2 years ago tried to have like a little minor league camp, and that's when they was trying to bring back Vince Young and Johnny Manziel. Now, obviously, that didn't work, but that's because the NFL heads tried it and it wasn't going to do it. This is different because this is their own league, but why not use it to have people? Why not use it as a platform to, one, make a star out of somebody, but two, continue it on with it. If you have an XFL player, if you're a true XFL fan, and your guy goes to the NFL with a possibility of probably starting, i.e. P.J. Walker, Dwayne Hendricks, who was a defensive lineman, that could possibly start for the Steelers if we need a tackle since we lost Hargrave to Philly. Why not? Looks good, makes revenue, follow your favorite player, we're in that social media edge, you know. NFL needs as much clout as they can because it's still looking like the worst league out of the major four. So, three, we don't count hockey, but, you know, it is what it is.
So, my question about that is, would the NFL ever sign off on, like the XFL, you can technically sign a college freshman or a sophomore. The NFL, you can't due to age restrictions. Would they sign off on having that rule stay in place in the XFL? Because then you kind of start taking kids from colleges because they need to pay some bills right now.
Here's your question. Here's a bigger question. How much money is college football going to go ahead and help the NFL bring up revenue? See, it's not like NCAA basketball and the NBA. They partnered up, and that's how that 1 year rule came to be because NCAA basketball was losing way too much money with everybody going straight from the pros. Just think about it on a regular basis. Kobe, LeBron, Garnett, Dwight Howard, Tracy McGrady. They lost a ton of money with just those five guys alone. Others that left and went to the pros straight out of high school. The NFL probably will do it like baseball, and Rez, you probably can co-sign on this one. Probably if they do come out and go to the XFL after a year or so, they'll probably have the NFL team hold their rights until they're technically eligible to play in the NFL by that point.
So you're saying, like, make them play at college?
Nah, I'm saying if you're going to draft them out of high school, then make the XFL a developmental system. And then, but you hold their rights. So you hold their rights for technically 2 years. The earliest you can come out of the NFL is technically 21.
But
it's either 3 years out of college or 21 years old.
A lot of those kids are going to want to play for money, and until college football determines that they are going to pay kids and how much, there's a lot of kids that go to the XFL and say, let me get this paper for my family because mama need to eat.
Right, but they know they're not going to get big money from the XFL, so okay, let's go ahead and give you your earnings to go ahead and make a living, but you still can't come to the big boy game until another whatever amount of years, for another 2 years. But we'll move that to the rookie because we'd rather have you making something than lose you into a system where if you get hurt, for example, if you're, it happened almost instantly with Adrian Peterson. Luckily, he rehabbed. But remember, Adrian Peterson messed up his knee as a freshman in college. And luckily, he rebounded and became the man he is today. But what happens in college is that all-star player coming out of high school messes up his knee or tears his ACL or something like that. At least in the NFL, you get paid. And at least in the XFL, you get paid if you do it. You're not getting big bucks because you got to wait, but you're getting something rather than nothing. That's why I said I don't think it's a bad idea to have it as a farm system. You're stuck on that team because they own your rights. So if you get drafted, Kansas City owns your rights, that don't mean all of a sudden when you become officially able to turn pro that you can go to any team. No, Kansas City still owns your rights. So if if you're not happy with where Kansas City may go or Pittsburgh may go, the Texans may go, whomever may go, hey, that's on you, bro. But you're getting paid a check under that team.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because
got
look at the G League. Because that's what the NBA G League does. Because you do know the G League, you can go straight from high school to the pros.
yeah.
But in the G League, you can't play in the NBA. You got to sit there for that year in the G League before you can go to the NBA. So if you're a top 5 talent out of high school, you don't want to go to Europe and you don't want to go to college, you go to the G League and bust some butt and do everything, but you know you're not going to get picked up for a whole year.
Yeah, I got you, but if I'm a kid and basically I'm just in a minor league system and I don't have to go to college, and my mama can't afford for me to go to college, like, because even though I'm on a scholarship, I still got loans and stuff I got to take out, or I'm going to go to the XFL and make this little hope for a $2,000 raise per game with a win and whatever salary that I'm getting paid, and I'll go to the NFL when I get there in a couple years. Like, but I think you kind of ruin. I mean, there's only so many jobs, I guess, because it's only 8 teams, but you really water down college football.
If college football starts paying, then it won't happen. That's the whole point.
So you're forcing their hand.
Should have been forcing the hand in the first place. If they're making $1 million off of name recognition and revenue, again, I was using the University of Florida and how much money they made off of Tim Tebow. They made millions off of Tim Tebow. That number 15 was the highest selling jersey for 3 years. Tim didn't get any of that on record. And he probably got some under the table, but on record. So I'm just saying, man.
Well, I'm definitely happy for these XFL players getting their opportunity. I do look forward to seeing if the NCAA goes and pays these players, because if they can technically go and get paid to play, I think you have a lot of kids with a lot of talent ending up in the XFL, and it's kind of a pathway for Vince McMahon to sell tickets and boost revenue, especially when you start getting some names in that league that would have been on college teams, but instead it elected the money because they need to get paid, because mama need food. I ain't getting rich, but I'm getting paid, and football is my job. I don't have to bother myself with anything else other than learning how to be the best football player in the world. If I want to go to night school afterwards, great. But in the meantime, I'm about to get this check and play some ball. So
pretty much.
I definitely think college football's hand would be forced. I definitely think so. Finally. In other news, the Houston Texans are in talks with Laramie Tunsil for an extended contract. We've been hearing this all off season in regards to him becoming the highest paid tackle in football. I'm laughing because it's a joke to me, but maybe you know something I don't, Justin.
Nah, I think it's a joke because it seems like they got rid of D-Hop to free up money to bring in this kid. And that's where it's like, well, who was more important, your all-pro wide receiver or your first-year Pro Bowl tight left tackle? Now, don't get me wrong, it's important because he's protecting your quarterback. But I'm just saying, I don't get it. And then the thing is if he was such an asset, he would have been signed day one. Laramie Tunsil's a free agent. It ain't like they got his rights. No one's picked up Laramie Tunsil, and that's pretty much it. So I don't get that.
I want to add to your argument, though. In addition to Laramie Tunsil protecting your quarterback, how much protection of your quarterback did DeAndre Hopkins do? How much of a better quarterback is Deshaun Watson for having played with basically Spider-Man? Like, there's nothing you can get past him. His feet are always perfect. How many bad throws did he save? How many third downs did he convert? Because he's just that good. And you chose this tackle that is okay. I mean, he's adequate. Like, he isn't going to get Deshaun killed more times than not. But you chose this tackle over an all-pro, not a Pro Bowl, an all-pro wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, but again, he was their first round pick this year. I mean, that's the only argument I can make is that they traded a first round pick for him this year, and they can't trade a first round pick and let him walk. So they had no leverage here.
That's the scary point. They had no leverage, so you let them walk. You know what I mean? But no one's picked up Laramie Tunsil. There's been other people that have been picked up, and Laramie's still out there. So why would you pay this guy? If other teams know his value, then you should too. We've been in free agency for 2 weeks, and we ain't heard of Laramie Tunsil anything, but yet the Texans are supposed to pay him as the highest paid left tackle. That doesn't make sense.
You're making my Dak Prescott argument for Tunsil.
But at least they franchised Dak Prescott. They have done nothing. The Texans have done nothing as far as having to do anything. Right. If he wants to go to Kansas City tomorrow and Kansas City got the money, go to Kansas City. If you want to go to Pittsburgh, if you want to go to the Raiders, back to Miami, wherever, no one's saying anything.
I was about to say, I got more money than the Chiefs, so they can't. I can sign him before he could. They could.
Well, that's my whole point. It's like, all right, well, no one's picking him up. I mean, Joe, maybe you can help me out. What's the mystery with the Texans and Laramie Tunsil? Because I don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. And just my personal opinion, I feel like the faithful, whatever fan base is left of the Texans, I just feel like they don't have any faith in the front office anymore. I mean, I think it's kind of gotten to the point where, okay, if they sign Tunsil and give him, he's the highest paid tackle in football or whatever, it's like, okay, if he leaves, it's like, well, of course this is going to happen because, O'Brien's just been making mind-boggling moves these last few weeks. So, I don't have faith in what they're doing right now. So, I mean, if they keep them good, if not, then, well, what else is new? Bill O'Brien is screwing this team up, day by day. So.
Well, you sound completely defeated.
You know how defeated I was when they made that Seahawks trade. It's just like, even now, Coach Ware, it's just like, huh? You got analysts all over the place saying, maybe O'Brien's the worst GM in NFL history. He's like the worst trade in NFL history. Well, yeah, I agree with that. So, if Tunsil leaves, he might have a chance to play with a real NFL team. So.
But the thing is and I ain't even gonna harp on it. It just seems like he's going for there's a market, and I always say that if other teams ain't calling for your guy, then your guy ain't shit. Just be honest, and that's the real thing. If no one was calling, for example, I'll use the Steelers for example. Ramon Foster, who was a free agent at this time, he's only 31 years old. No one was knocking down the Steelers' door for him last year, so he re-signed for a year. This year, no one knocked on his door, so he retired. In other words, if my team is letting me go ahead and test the free market, it's pretty much saying, and no one's calling, it's pretty much telling you something. This is a guy that went to the Pro Bowl, and either they're lowballing him on a contract, or everybody's like, well, you did lead the league in penalties, including in the playoffs, which is only 2 games. We good. We'll wait. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll go ahead and let you test the market and see what's good. And afterwards, we'll come to a decision. And that's what's happening. But for his agent or his people or even him come out and say the Texans about to pay us as a top lineman is beyond crazy.
Yeah, I 100% concur that's got to be it's mind-boggling to say the very least, because I just don't. I'm with you. Like, if no one else is paying him that or offering him that, they know in hell I'm going to do it. Like, you go get me a contract offer somewhere else that shows me that you're worth what you think you're worth. I'll match it.
I mean, and not to piggyback, but let's use the guy that you had, Reggie, Wisniewski. Wisniewski is coming off of a Super Bowl win, and no one knocked on his door till the Steelers did, and we only paying him $2 million for 2 years. And yeah, the whole gist is y'all got to pay Patrick Mahomes, but it's also telling you that hey, you may not be as hot as you think you were, so you better take whatever money that's been offered to you and run with it.
Yeah, but in our case, we only got $177 left to spend, like serious. So I don't think we could have afforded Steven Wisniewski even for the little money he signed with you guys. So the Tunsil watch is on. We'll see what O'Brien does. We know he's not a very good general manager. So, and I just think for me, Tunsil kind of got you backed into a corner because you traded a number 1 draft pick for me, and now you got to pay me even though nobody else will, or I'm not going to play for you. And then you just lost the number 1 draft pick for a few games.
That's very true.
So let's get to our versus section of the show. I guess you wanted to start off with Michael Vick versus Lamar Jackson. Who you got?
Yeah. All right, so I had to think about this for a long time. And Joe, I'm going to see if you got this too. I thought about it, Lamar versus Mike. I said, ooh, this is great. You know what I mean? This is the past versus basically the future. And you'll be surprised what I'm going to say. I'm going with Lamar Jackson.
Who's surprised?
I'm going with Lamar Jackson, not because I'm a fan, because I'm a bigger Michael Vick fan than any of y'all know. Trust me. I was a fan of Mike Vick in his deep tech days when he was obliterating my alma mater before I transferred there. But there's nothing you could say about this kid Lamar Jackson that Vick has done. Vick has just the stats and the stuff alone. As much as I love Mike Vick, Lamar Jackson has done almost everything, of course, except the obvious of win a Super Bowl that Vick hasn't even done. Vick has never even got an MVP nod. So, who you got, Joe? What's up?
Yeah, it's tough. They're both electric, but I guess, I'm going to go back to, my college days when I played Madden. You play the Falcons, Michael Vick, he keeps running all over the place. You try to keep a spy on him in Madden. This still didn't work. And then, that's based off the Madden video game. But even in real life, I mean, man, Michael Vick was just unbelievable. It is kind of surprising, he never got the accolades that Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson has an MVP. He's a reigning MVP. Michael Vick never won an MVP, like you mentioned, Justin. But, I saw a poll the other day, as far as video games, who's the most, unstoppable player. I think Bo Jackson was in there, Steph Curry. But, if you had Michael Vick, it was literally hard to stop the guy when you played Madden. So, really, for that reason, I had to go with Michael Vick. I mean, Lamar Jackson, maybe, few years down the line, a better, maybe more exciting, electric, but I'll take Vick right now. That's old school me talking.
Sad note, I've seen that poll too, and actually, the people wrong. They forget about Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl.
Oh,
man,
bro, come on, old man.
I was down. If you had the Raiders back in the days and Bo Jackson, you're going to win the damn game. That's why when we were kids, we banned the Raiders to play. You can't play as the Raiders because it's cheap.
Oh, I beat him because I had Christian Okoye, damn it. But you old, bro. Like, you old, ancient old. Just sorry, you're old. So
we talking about Michael Vick on Madden. That's 04 Madden.
But it's Mike Vick. Like, you talking like 89, 87. Like, Tecmo Bowl. That's like, yeah, bro, you old. So I'm with Joel here. Surprisingly, I just think Michael Vick kind of was just better. Like, I get the numbers. You're right. Lamar Jackson's numbers are better, but they built an entire offense around Lamar Jackson, the right offense around Lamar Jackson. And if Michael Vick played with the Ravens, the Ravens would have won the Super Bowl, not the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, that's how good Michael Vick was at this stage of his career. Yeah, Lamar Jackson was good, but, bro, I'm sorry. Like, I like Lamar Jackson, but I love Michael Vick. I love watching him, and I wish he had played in this era of football. I really do. I really wish. He was definitely ahead of his time.
The only thing I'm saying also is at this point, who is more, the other big factor I always say, who is more coachable in their prime? Michael Vick kind of just says, screw the playbook, I'm going to do what I do. Lamar's more, he has a better arm. I'm going to be honest with you. He doesn't have the better flick as far as the deep ball than Vick, because they are both left-handed quarterbacks that have a deep ball, and they both damn near throw the ball the same way. They both have a flip snap when they throw it. But Lamar's is just smoother than Vick. Vick, if you even look at some of the highlights going back to P-Tech, Vick had games where he was 5 or 10, 85 to 150 yards. But the fact of the matter is he may have run for 125. Lamar has more recently has shown he could go. He has a couple of 250, 300-yard games, not as consistent as your Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and all them. But it just shows that he's more dynamic with that to me.
Well,
I always wonder what would have happened. I always wonder what would have happened if Michael Vick hadn't been caught up with the dog stuff. If he would have better numbers, or if he would have even become even a better quarterback than he was then.
No, that's the problem. No, that was the problem. Remember Vick's last year in the league? The last year he was in the league before he went to jail, he had over 1,000 yards rushing, but he was only 50% passing. And that's when he had Roddy White. That's when he had Algie Crumpler. That's when he had what's my man that went to Tampa? Ward Dunn. He had weapons done. He had weapons then, but Mike's mentals was all about Mike. Now, if you told me he was about Team Mike, like that's the one thing I'm gonna give Lamar Jackson. Lamar about Lamar for right now. I'll say that because things do change when you get popular. If it was all about Lamar the team player, or Mike the team player versus Mike Vick the star, it may have been different. But Mike's numbers weren't that great his last 2 years in the league before he went to jail. His best years passing is when he was in Philly out, and he got out of jail. And so that's when Andy Reid, who obviously we know what Reggie knows, they had built a system for Mike Vick to be successful. That's why they got rid of D-Man. They built a system for him. So it made sense now. But before then, no. That's why I was like, nah. I looked at Mike Vick out there. He was just worried about getting 1,000 yards, and that record's now broken, so he can't even use it anymore.
Bro, I don't think so. Like, he had defensive coaches his early years in the league. Dan Reeves, he's not an offensive juggernaut coach. Wade Phillips.
Dan Reeves, time out. Dan Reeves, who coached John Elway.
He coached John Elway into how many Super Bowl losses? Yeah, and did what there? Those are defensive teams, and those are defensive teams and running game teams. Now Elway was great, but I'm sorry, Dan Reeves is not an offensive coach. Like
but Jim Moore was.
Jim Moore came in his last 3 years in Atlanta. Like
right, which was his best year.
His first few years in Atlanta, he had Dan Reeves and Wade Phillips. So they didn't know how to curtail. They didn't know how to curtail an offense to Michael Vick. That wasn't.
But then they got Jim Moore, and Jim Moore did everything he could outside of getting T.O. and Jerry Rice in their prime to get to Atlanta, and it was working then. It just didn't work consistently, as over time.
Well, we both agree that Mike Vick had his best numbers those last 3 years, and had the dog stuff not happened then, I'm with Joel. I'd like to know what would have. I'd like to know if he actually goes on and progresses to the quarterback that he could have been, but it happened, and his career was changed after that. But I'm still going to take Mike Vick over Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry. I agree with Joel. All right.
We agree. You got that one.
We're gonna move on to running back today. I left it here as Marshall Faulk and Christian McCaffrey. I didn't like the numbers. But I'll leave it there if that's what you like to do.
If you got Jamal Charles.
I
Let's
take
go.
Jamal Charles top 3 seasons. Well, his first 3 healthy seasons as the Chiefs starting running back against Christian McCaffrey. I can do that because Jamal Charles was a lot more comparable. Like when I looked at Falk, he was averaging like 3.4 or 3.7 yards per carry. Let me look at the number.
But you're also talking about in a different NFL.
Bro,
I mean, he was carrying the ball a lot.
but in the same
air,
but Jamal Charles averaged over 5 yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
So, did he give you a first down Hall of Famer like Falk was? You think?
I'm going by numbers. Like Falk had longevity, and then he got. I'm going off of those first 3 years, because that's all we have on McCaffrey. Huh? He wasn't injured.
So
he played
60. So you're no, not injured. I said you're basing it off of when Falk was in Indy.
Yeah, I mean that's all we have against for McCaffrey is 3 years. If you only have 3 years, I mean the entire body of work. Of course, I'm taking Marshall Faulk, but if I'm looking at 3 years, Christian McCaffrey dominates him. Like it's not close. Like he had his years with Vermeil where he was the MVP. Like he absolutely was. I mean, Kurt Warner may have won the award, but Falk was the MVP.
And we know why that was.
Yeah, but if you're going off his first 3 years versus McCaffrey, it's not close.
So the reason I'm still sticking with C-Mac is dynamic because C-Mac is the whole team. Unlike with Jamal Charles was not necessarily the whole team for safety. I mean, he was great. Don't get me wrong. Jamal Charles was nice, but he was not the whole team. Right now, and last year definitely proved it. Christian McCaffrey was a one-man wrecking crew, and we all started to even doubt him once Cam went down, and he showed out with making Cal Allen for at least a couple of games, made him look like he was damn near a Pro Bowl quarterback. You know what I mean? Not going to be an undrafted NFL free agent / journeyman, but hey, look at the numbers. Look what Christian McCaffrey can do. We also forget the man can block at his size. Christian McCaffrey was 5'10", maybe 210. He's not heavy. Actually 5'9" and 210. He's not a heavyweight by any means. So he doesn't have size. Jamal Charles definitely has size on him. I've seen dudes personally. He's kind of yoked up. Not to mention one factor, even though Ron doesn't want to do it, they've already said that Matt Rule wants to, is to get Christian McCaffrey back on doing special teams, your punt return and your kick return. My man was a monster at Stafford doing that. And I don't see no other running back in this current age and date that you could put to do running, receiving, and punt and kick return. Now, his career will be short as can be. But at least for a year or two, that would be really exciting. So that's why I'm pulling for CMC.
Joe, who you got?
Okay, so help me out here now. So we're comparing Charles and McCaffrey.
You got one of 3 choices. I guess you could take Falk. Why not?
Okay, yeah. Oh man. Well, I guess I got to stick with the old school. I got to go with Marshall Faulk still.
Okay.
He did the same things that McCaffrey's doing now. He could of course he can run. Of course he can catch in the backfield as well. And again, go back to Madden. I was probably the best player on Madden. I think he was on the cover of Madden 03, if I'm not mistaken. He was a 99 in that game too. So, that's 2 in a row. I'm old school right now, so we'll see how it progresses. But yeah, I'm gonna take Falk right now.
Okay.
So you got Falk.
Like I said, I told you, I'm sticking CMC.
You taking McCaffrey?
He's more of a dynamic than the other two. The other two, Marshall became. If we're going for the first week, Marshall became a dynamic. He became a dynamic factor with everything he is, but CMC is right now at this rate of his career. If he can stay healthy, we say I'll say maybe 7 more years, so that'd be 10 years in the league at that point. If he can keep this way, you never. Hey, we said that about one Adrian Peterson. He's still in the league, surprisingly. We've said that about a lot of running backs that have lasted longer than they're supposed to. I mean, I always bring up my alumni brother from my neighborhood, Curtis Martin. How long did he last? He played in the league 13 years, and he was a three. He won a rushing title. He's still the oldest player to ever win a rushing title at 35. No one, I doubt you. See? I don't think anybody's going to break that anytime soon. I mean, Adrian Peterson will probably be the closest. I don't see him doing that this year.
So, I'm sticking with Jamal Charles. A, because I'm a homer. B, because
that's the reason.
B, because he averaged 5 yards a carry. C, he had seasons with 70 catches and 700 yards or 693 yards.
But he never had a stat. He never had over 1,000 though.
No, he didn't, because as you said, it was a different era. Okay, so I'm taking.
Because Marshall had over 1,000 yards, and that was way before Jamal Charles. So there's a gap.
Marshall had 1,000 one time in his career.
Okay, but that was way before Jamal Charles.
One time.
So that was still before Jamal Charles.
And
still before Jamal Charles. So there was a guy after and a guy before.
Okay, but Marshall's highest rushing total in his career for one season was 1,382.
Mm-hmm. Mind you, he played on the greatest show on turf.
Okay, great. And Kansas City had a hell of a passing attack at that point too.
No, but again, just like with Kansas City, your running backs are not necessarily needing to run the ball.
1,500 yards is a need to run the ball.
But he's passing it. Now, Kansas City, when he was with Jamal Charles, y'all needed to run the ball because whoever the hell y'all quarterback was,
exactly
adequate.
If I had Kurt Warner as my quarterback with that offense that you just said, I'd have 1,000 yards receiving too, and I wouldn't have to run the ball for 1,500 yards like Marshall Faulk didn't have to, because he had weapons around him. I'm taking Jamal Charles because you had one focus against the Chiefs at times with Jamal Charles, and he still averaged 5 yards a pop. So I'm taking JC, and I'm a homer. Oh, and I'm a homer.
Make sure hashtag
for life. I'm not ashamed. So Randy Moss and Michael Thomas.
Y'all know who I'm going for. I still debate he's the second GOAT after that man over there in San Fran. The formerly San Fran and several others. He's mainly San Fran. So we're not even going there with that one. Randy Moss's first 3 years in the league was the most dominant receiver in the league.
He scored a lot of touchdowns
as a rookie. Okay. But you had Chris Carter on the other side that could catch. All he had to do was to catch touchdowns. You had Chris Carter and Jake Reed. You had a dynamic force, and he outshined as a rookie 2 guys that were one Hall of Famer, and one could have been a potential Hall of Famer, Jake Reed, when he got hurt.
He had a lot of touchdowns.
So
and a lot of yards.
He didn't need to have a lot of catches. Okay.
Well, he had a lot of targets. He had a lot of targets. So he did need to have a lot of targets. He only caught 56% of the balls thrown to him.
But he didn't need to have a lot of catches.
I'm just saying. You had a lot of attempts. If we go their first few years, they threw the ball to him like 500 something times. He caught 56% of those balls.
That means he gets open.
Michael Thomas catches 78% of his balls.
Michael Thomas is the only option.
With more yards.
But the only option.
But he caught, the attempts are the same. The attempts are relatively close.
Name me another option on that team. And I'll give you 2 other options on that Minnesota team that underachieved.
He caught the ball 56% of the time. That's not a great receiving percentage. Now, he scored a lot of touchdowns.
Or meaning how many times was thrown to him?
No, he had the targets. He had 544 targets, 308
and how many times
catches.
Did he drop the ball? How many times did he drop that ball? Because he's never been in the top 5 in drop.
Bro,
Not to say Michael Thomas had, because the other dude that I had on there, that's why I took his ass off. Because he did lead the league in drop 3 times.
I'm just saying more reliable pass catcher is Michael Thomas.
Because he's the only option.
The more explosive of the two is Michael Thomas. Now, your guy scores a lot of touchdowns, but if you're looking at yards over their first 3 seasons, Michael Thomas statistically dominates him in every area except for touchdowns.
But here's the question I have to ask you. Who is the other receiver on the Saints that they threw the ball to?
But what I'm saying to you is, it's not because of a lack of targets. Because Randy had 124 targets in 98, 137 in 99, 129 in 2000. That's his first 3 seasons. The problem was he's only catching 56% of those balls.
Because the fact of the matter, he's only getting it thrown 56% because the other 40 is going to probably Chris Carter, and the other ones are going to whomever else is on that offense. Between the running back of Robert Smith before he retired, or going to Jake Reed before he got hurt, or going to the tight end, whoever the tight end may be. I mean, they spread that ball a lot. Not to mention, let's bring up another huge factor. Quarterbacks. You have Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees, one of the greatest of all time, versus Randy's first years he had not only Brad Johnson, not only Randall Cunningham, but also Dante Culpepper. You had 3 different quarterbacks in 3 different years, and that's 3 different ways of throwing, because if everybody knows Dante Culpepper's a left-handed quarterback, the other 2 are right. Also, a different style of having to do that. Not to mention, he also had 2 different coaches, because he had Mike Tice as well as Denny Green. So you also had different dynamics as far as options that Randy had to go ahead and adjust to. I mean, you said it a long time before in the podcast. Receiving is just not receiving. You got to learn plays and everything. I'm just saying, you got a little bit of a difference there when you're comfortable with the same guy, the same coach, the same offense, the same everything. They pretty much have it all set there. Versus every time a new person comes in, you got to change.
What I'm saying to you is on 4th and 7.
Yes, Culpepper's left-handed. Get the roll on.
Who? Who's left-handed?
Culpepper.
No.
I know Culpepper's right-handed.
No, he's right-handed. Yeah, he's right-handed. On 4th and 7, at like the 50-yard line, if I just need a first down, I want Michael Thomas. Now, any situation where I need a touchdown, I'll take Randy Moss, because no one catches touchdowns better and more frequently than Randy Moss.
There isn't a point about scoring.
I mean, but you need first downs to get in position to score. You need to get first downs to get in position to score. And if I need 3rd and 7, and I'm at the 20-yard line of my own 20-yard line, I'm sorry, I'm going to Michael Thomas because I need a first down.
I'm understanding when the first downs help you win. A first down wins games over points winning games. I'm playing college football now. I just beat a team 48-0. I had 3 first downs. 3 first downs wouldn't let me.
So how'd you score 48 points with only 3 first downs?
Because I kept going deep with my wide receiver.
That's only that. But again, how did you with only 3 first downs in the game?
And I'm looking at it.
So you're scoring. You're scoring on every play then.
Basically, I did. This is college football.
Okay, but this is the NFL.
Which is the
and you need first. No one can just score touchdowns in the NFL. You need first downs.
Question. So you mean to tell me if my quarterback has to do, we're not going to even use the name of your quarterback. We'll leave it nameless. But if my quarterback can go deep and my wide receiver can catch it and they can score touchdowns, I'm still going to go short to go 3rd and 7 versus if I have a play and I know the DB can't handle my wide receiver and go deep.
When I'm only getting 56% completions compared to 78.
56%.
Yes,
so
because you're 56% versus 78.
but you're using that, but you're not using the point of scoring.
I'm using yardage. I'm using first downs.
But the whole point of the game is to score.
You score touchdowns when you get in the red zone. In order to get in the red zone, you have to move the ball. In
Why
order
do
to
I
move
need
the
to get in
ball,
red zone?
because you don't score 80-yard touchdowns every time you score. That's not how football works. Only on your college game.
Here's the thing. Randy Moss was that dynamic where he was. Look at the Dallas game, and Joe, I'm gonna talk to you real quick. Look at the Dallas game Thanksgiving. That was his second year in the league. Randy Moss had 3 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Why? Because the quarterback can throw the ball, and Randy was wide enough to get open on Dallas against that team with Darren Woodson and George Teague and whoever the hell else was a cornerback, was blowing them all away.
But that's only 14 points.
150 yards.
That's only 14 points.
But you're talking about points, period.
But it's only 14.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I need more than 14 to win in the National Football League.
But I'm sorry, you're saying 5 first downs is better than.
It depends
14
on
points.
when those first downs come. How did I get those 14?
Yeah, but you're also wasting clock and a lot of other things.
Again, 14 does not win football games. You just gave me 2 scores. That doesn't win football games.
That player in that combination.
Okay, and then what happens if you get nothing else because you can't get first downs?
So let me ask you this question: 3 first downs equal what?
No, I didn't say 3 first downs. I said catching the ball 78% of the time versus catching it 56% of the time. Who is the more reliable person?
Just answer this
Who's
question.
the more reliable person?
The man that can score the touchdown.
No, sir, that's not the most reliable person. The most reliable person is the one that gets you the most receptions when you throw them the ball. Who can you count on the most? Not some spontaneous plays.
It also breaks down to the system.
Not some spontaneous plays that happen to score.
Not spontaneous.
Yes.
It's a system. Spontaneous is if all of a sudden they come with a jerk play. A spontaneous play is a Hail Mary on first down. A spontaneous play is a trick play like a flea flicker. Not a calculated, hey, we're going running this. This is running our offense. That's not spontaneous.
It's a deep ball that you're taking the chance or you're only connecting 56% of the time.
Okay,
as opposed to me connecting 78% of the time. And it's not all deep balls.
Okay, so he runs the in route and he gets the first down. That's great. So while the
No. What I'm saying is he's catching the ball 78% of the time. My quarterback is more efficient. My offense is more efficient. I'm going to win more games than I lose.
Okay, Joe, help me out with this one. Who you got, Michael Thomas or the guy that gets the first down or the guy that gets the touchdown? I'm talking to you, Joe. I'm sorry.
Here's my thing. Okay, Michael Thomas has only been in the NFL for 4 years, so it's kind of hard to make a comparison with Randy Moss right now. I guess the jury's still we know Michael Thomas is a good receiver, but I guess is he a part of the system? Is he a part of being with the Hall of Fame quarterback like you mentioned? We saw Randy Moss put up big numbers when he first got into the league, and then when he got to the Patriots, he had a record there too. So he had Tom Brady in New England, and then he had pretty much, I would say, average quarterbacks in Minnesota, and then he was playing with the Hall of Fame quarterback. So I'm talking as a good receiver, but is he a part of the system right now?
Ready? Is he part of the system?
Still got to get open because Tom Brady's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and in the first 5 years of anybody's career he's played with, they haven't put up Michael Thomas numbers.
And look what Tom Brady did when he got that Randy Moss.
Yeah, but they did not put up these numbers. In touchdowns wise, yes, they did.
But that's the whole point.
No, it's not, because you need more than touchdowns.
Bro,
touchdowns are not the only thing that win games.
Let's take it to a dynamic.
I'm just saying, Randy Moss is not going to score 5 touchdowns a game. No. He's not going to score 4 a game. You still need to move the ball and get first downs. And if I can only count on you to catch the ball 56% of the time, I'm only looking for you really when I need a big play.
Deep. He's not only going deep. And let's bring up another factor. If you do drops, Randy Moss had better hands as far as
You say that, but he only caught 56% of passes thrown to him, not just in his first 4 years, for his career.
But you keep forgetting about the fact of the matter is his first 3 years he played with another dynamic receiver who was also
and I'm telling you, this is not just his first 4 years. This is his career number. His career number is 56% catching the ball thrown at him.
But
that's his career number. And it's his first 4 years.
And I also put it on.
He's very consistent.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to instantly forget about going 3 years, and you were going his whole career.
And I did no. What I did was I did the first 3 years. No sir. I put the first 3 years here. My stats are consistent. You look up his first 3 years. I'll give you the numbers right now. It's still 56%.
I'm looking at both of them. I got the NFL.
It's still 56%. It's still 56%. And for his career, it's still 56%.
Nah.
Yes, it is.
You're also looking at the fact I get that. Hold up, club partner. But the whole part I'm trying to tell you also is if you're looking at 56% those 3 years with that, you're also looking at let's make up the number 39% to Chris Carter. You had a whole different guy that you can catch the ball. So
wait, you said 39%. He still got 7.5 targets a game.
Here's the
he
problem.
He still got 7.5 targets every game at least. That's his average in those first 3 years.
At least.
Yes.
At least.
Randy Moss still had 7.5 targets. He's caught about 4 of those balls.
How many games has Michael Thomas had double-digit receptions?
I would say quite a few.
It's exactly my point. Reasoning is because the fact of the matter, he is their only option.
What I'm telling you, your guy had opportunities. He's got more. He had more targets than Michael Thomas. It doesn't matter about have to. You say he didn't have to. What do you mean? He had more targets. He has more targets, but he had more targets and caught less balls.
But had more yards and more touchdowns.
Let's look at the yards. Because I believe Michael Thomas' first 3 years yards is 5,512. Randy Moss is 5,396.
And spread versus traditional.
So Thomas leads in yards.
Don't go there with that.
There's only one category Ross leads. There's only one category Moss leads in his touchdowns.
That's the one that counts the most, bro.
Okay. I'm taking Michael Thomas.
If you gotta score to win games. We'll move on to the next one.
I'm taking Michael Thomas. Travis Kelce versus Tony Gonzalez, and I'm out of this one.
Hold up.
Yeah.
No.
He already said he's got Randy. He already said he's got Randy.
Okay. No, I'm saying with you being out of the Kelce versus Tony Gonzalez one.
Because I'm biased.
Well, like you're out of it.
I'm biased.
This is a KC choice.
I didn't pick this topic. I'm biased.
I know. I purposely picked this topic.
I'm biased. It's Travis Kelce.
Woo! Damn.
No Chief tight end has caught 1,000 yards 4 years in a row until Travis Kelce.
No one needed to.
Yes, we did. Because before Travis Kelce, when Tony Gonzalez was the tight end, our offense couldn't move the ball. He was our offense. Him in the running game.
Right, but y'all ran I formation, so it was run the ball and throw to the tight end. Now y'all have a spread offense where y'all can dump it to everybody. It's like Pastor Devontae.
And Kelce still still gets 1,000 yards.
Yeah, because let's be realistic. Kelce is an H-back receiver / tight end.
Okay, but you asked me to pick, so I'm going with Travis Kelce. So,
all right, fine. Joe, who are you going with? I'm going with Tony Gonzalez to go. One of the greatest tight ends of all time, including over Kelce.
Well, I'm shocked looking at the numbers for the first 4 years.
Yes, do it, Joe. Be shocked, Joe. Shock him for me, please. He'll get it too.
Yeah. Gonzalez 301. The catches, Gonzalez had 301. Kelce had 303. The receiving yards were about the same. You say Barry. Why are you getting between these two guys?
Come on.
Who you got?
Go with Kelce. Go with Kelce, brother.
Who you got?
Yeah, I love Tony, but I got to go Kelsey right now.
Damn right.
I got to go Kelsey.
I love it.
Damn right.
I love Kelsey.
I got to go Kelsey.
Consistently
listen,
great.
A new school guy. The first few times it was old school people, but now I got a new school guy now.
Yeah, consistently great.
But the numbers. I just can't believe how similar the numbers are through the first 4 years.
No chance in hell I'm going to pick a guy that's basically winning because of the fact of a system versus a guy that was a traditional.
Oh, okay.
No fucking way.
Okay. Well, my guy is consistent.
Yeah. I'm just basing off numbers, guys. That's why I'm basing this one on.
Like,
your guy can't, and here's another thing. Your guy can't block, Reg. I'm sorry.
Wait. You're thinking about Tony Gonzalez later in his career when he moved on to Atlanta, when he had to block. When he was in Kansas City, he did not block. And he looked at – that's why they always carried a big blocking tight end, i.e. Jonathan Hayes. This is why we always had one. Tony Gonzalez did not block in Kansas City. He was a prima donna, pass-catching basketball player who played tight end. He is not this tough guy that you may want to give him the image to be. He is not Shannon Sharp. He was a finesse tight end. He was a finesse tight end. Okay, he was a finesse tight end who did not do those things you think he did. I'm taking Travis Kelce.
So before there, and you named my favorite tight end of all time, which is Shannon Sharp. But Shannon Sharp was the original Kelce. He was the black Kelce. No, I'm going to say Kelce's white Shannon.
Yeah.
Because that was another hybrid wide receiver that became a tight end because of lack of speed or offense, whatever the case may be, because he's great at what he does. I'll never take that away from Kelce. I like the dude. He got that spunk that I like, that I would want on my football team. I never knock him. But Tony G was a dynamic for y'all team for years. He was your only weapon for Lord knows how many years. He made after all of them, and you can say that. How many bum-ass quarterbacks y'all had?
A lot.
Elvis Gerback.
A lot.
Tyler Falco. And Tyler Falco went to Pitt, and he was a dick then, and he's a dick now. Excuse my language. But all those guys, but he made 1,200, 1,000. He had several years where he was on the cusp of 1,000, 900 then, 900.
Right, but bro, Kelce's lowest is 847.
But also
his lowest
dynamic now.
His lowest
also
number.
Realize the game has changed.
And I'm sorry, I owe him 15 yards. It's 862. His lowest.
The one thing I do want y'all to know, and that's fine. I'll give you the yards. There's no doubt about it. But the one thing I want to tell you is, when he was in Kansas City, y'all ran I formation for the most part.
We did.
Y'all didn't. I formation is made for a running back. It's a running back's dream. Brett is a wide receiver and a tight end's dream now. NFL offenses just make more points, and that's why they have all these hand tackles as far as cornerbacks are concerned. Because if this shit would never, if they changed them rules, this would never happen. I'm sorry. Patrick and all of them would have to be doing a lot more because these receivers wouldn't be as open as much because they would be getting touched by everybody and an ankle. But you're talking about a guy that was getting 1,000 yards running I formation. Shannon did have a kind of a spread in Mike Shanahan's system. We also seen that for many years when Mike Shanahan moved on to Redskins, and that's how the magical Kirk Cousins, who overrated to me, became a fruition because of Shanahan's system. And all Gruden did was just go ahead and keep the same system and just change it to say it is. It was the same system. I'm going with Tony G because the fact of the matter is
you old.
Well, I'm going to take, in this case, I wanted you to say I'm old, even though we're the same age. Joel's actually the young guy out of all of them. But I'm taking this dynamic for the fact of the matter is he did more under a system that was not conventional for him.
He didn't do more.
And he worked.
He didn't do more. He did not do more.
He did more in his system than Kelce needed to do in his.
Needs to do. Needs now. Not needed. Not with Alex. Needs now. Because hold on. Tyreek's only a third-year player. Travis is a seventh-year player. Like, who was our receivers before? Who was our receivers before Tyreek? I don't even remember him. Exactly. I don't even remember him.
Jonathan Baldwin.
Exactly. And Travis was more valuable then. He had more targets then. He was more important then. Now he's getting the yardage because the ball is equally distributed and there's more weapons around him. I'm taking Travis Kelce because he's been a model of consistency year in and year out. And wasn't a spread before. Became a spread the last 2 years.
Wait, hold on.
It was a West Coast offense.
That's spread technically. West Coast is just advanced to being spread, dude.
No, it's not a spread. It's an underneath short passing game. Run the ball, throw some screens.
West Coast
passing
offense
attack.
is built for receivers. Even Jerry Rice said it. Jerry Rice said the West Coast offense is built for receivers. The spread is built for receivers. I formation is not.
I'm just saying.
Is you're tight end, you're pretty much getting open. And have you ever seen Tony Gonzalez have to line up at receiver? I've seen that a couple times, and I don't watch KC football.
Oh, Travis can line up anywhere. He don't have to, but he can.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take advantage of him being able to? No. You line him up like that because he's fast enough to line up like that.
But Tony G didn't get that opportunity to. The system theory, and he had to be the tight end.
I'm taking Travis.
He could have been a receiver.
I'm taking Travis.
Because he had jumping ability over everybody. If we're going leaping contest, I'm still going Tony G over Travis any day.
You take it.
Cool. You got Travis. Joe, who you got?
He told you. He got Travis too.
Okay. Yeah, I got that one.
He got Travis too.
Tony G in the building, man.
No. It's Travis Kelce. 2 votes to 1. No Tony G's here. Anyway,
I don't give a damn about what the fuck I say. I said what I said for my vote.
2 votes to 1. Travis Kelce. Moving on to your main event. I don't know why you compared these two guys because one is in the Hall of Fame. One has not been on that trajectory. But Troy Polamalu and Tyrann Mathieu.
So I wanted to actually hold off on this one.
Okay, let's wait till next week. You can find a better comparison.
It's not fair to you on that one. Yeah, it's not a fair comparison because Troy's way better than Tyrann Mathieu at any point of their career. I'm just being honest. Troy was asked to do a lot more than Tyrann. Tyrann's never been asked to blitz or anything else. I thought about it after the fact, and it was supposed to be drafted, but I didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
So I'll leave that there. But I do have one. And I'm going to leave it out there, but I'm going to just throw it out for one of y'all. Joel, you may have to play the old one on this one, but you're old enough to have that. Who has a more dynamic offense? The Kansas City Chiefs, who just won the Super Bowl, or the 2001 Rams that had a former Kansas City Chief and Trent Green, and you know how that. Who had the better dynamic offense? Because both of them are up there scoring points.
I go with the 2018 Chiefs.
No, the 18 Chiefs, whatever.
Yeah, 2018.
I'm going with 99? 99 Rams maybe? Or?
No. I'm going with the same when they won the Super Bowl, which was, I think, was the 01. It's either 2000 or 01. 01. The Ray Lewis stabbed dude in 2000, so 01. Sorry, I had to go there. My bad, Reg. I know you hate the Ray Lewis. I got his autograph, though.
You got a murderer's autograph.
The Rams and the Chiefs.
So the Rams was one of the greatest show on turf versus this year's most dynamic offense, they said, in over 20 years.
No, last year was better.
Well, they didn't win the Super Bowl last year.
I know that,
so
but
I got to go win Super Bowl versus Super Bowl.
I'm not. Last year's offense was better than this year's. This year's offense didn't have to be that good.
Yeah, actually, Ray Hunt.
Yeah.
But again, I got to go Super Bowl versus Super Bowl. Stick with the program. Like,
this is an ad lib, so I can change this one up. Who you got, Joe?
I'm about to say,
great show on turf. That was something I guess we did in the report. So I guess my question would be, a lot of these teams who came after them, they take some of their style from this Rams team.
They tried. They tried, but no one was successful. No one was successful to have that dynamic of 2,000-yard receivers, 1,000-yard running back, and a 5,000-yard quarterback and won a Super Bowl. I can even throw my Steelers in the mix, but we didn't win a Super Bowl. You could throw in a bunch of teams. Minnesota, years later with Moss, I forgot the running back's name, Michael Bennett, Carter, Culpepper, but they didn't win a Super Bowl. The whole dynamic is we're going after teams that won the Super Bowl, that won the big chip. I could also see New England.
That's the Rams.
Stop. Hold up. Let me do this.
You can't put
Sorry, Joe. I'm going to clip it in the fourth quarter because Reds kept going 2018, the year they didn't win. Joe, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to go runners up.
Oh,
Reds is going to take 2018, and this is the last time I'll do a change like this. It's not going to be protocol. 2018 KC Chiefs. Joe, how about that 2009 New England Patriots team with that guy?
18-1 team?
Mm-hmm. The team that went undefeated during the regular season and choked in the Super Bowl versus Reggie's who choked in the.
We didn't choke. Hold on. My team didn't choke. My team didn't get my offense didn't choke. The defense sucked. But the offense. We didn't get the ball back.
That's a good question.
Each one.
We didn't get the ball back.
Joe.
Yeah. I'll probably take. Oh man, I'll probably take the Patriots. Probably. I take the Patriots.
Okay.
I'd take the Patriots just because the Patriots would be able to play defense. But if it's just offenses, I'm going with the Chiefs.
So let's go with just strictly the no.
Go with the Chiefs.
Overall.
Yeah, no. Then I'm taking the Patriots.
No,
we didn't. No, that's why we lost. No, we did not have a solid defense. We outscored everybody. That's why we won the Super Bowl this year. No, your defense has to stop you, give you a chance in overtime. Like, hold them to a field goal. Give us the ball. Give us a chance. Like that, just like the Rams game on that Monday night game, it was like 54-51. Defense didn't give us a chance. Our defense was awful.
That was a beautiful game.
It was a Madden game on TV in prime time.
That was fun.
Yes, like it may never happen again, but it was a Madden game on prime time, and that was it. And it showed you that we weren't going to win a damn thing because that defense can't stop nothing. So if it's just offenses, I'm taking the Chiefs. If it's the teams, I'm taking the Patriots.
Okay, so this is the first time Reds admits that it's something the Chiefs didn't have. So, all right, let's go strictly offense. Joel, Patriots, Reds, Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Chiefs.
I'm still taking the Patriots.
Chiefs. Sorry, Chiefs.
I'm sorry.
With Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. I think at that point, Brady broke
with Kareem Hunt, with Travis KELCE. Yeah, I'm taking Chiefs. I'm taking Chiefs.
Remember, there was 3 records broke that year by the Patriots with Brady with yards, Moss with touchdowns, and Moss actually did have yards in the season. He was on the verge of being the first wide receiver to have 2,000 yards in the season, and Billick kept pulling the rank back on them too, so they'd be able to playoffs.
Yeah, that's why.
Don't get me wrong.
5,050 and 12.
It was,
I'm sorry. 5,050 and 12. Oh, throw in Kareem Hunt. Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs.
That's the only. Well, you really can't use Kareem Hunt.
He was one of the reasons that we got. That's why he got 5,000 yards. So I can't take him away. He played half the season. So no.
And the thing is they had a traditional offense too, and they was putting up numbers. They had better defense.
Had the Chiefs not cut Kareem Hunt last year, we probably do win the Super Bowl.
I will say this too. Their division and y'all division, their division was harder back then, surprisingly enough. But the Jets and the Dolphins were actually formidable teams that particular year versus y'all just ran through y'all division.
Bro,
it wasn't nothing.
Listen.
Raiders wasn't shit. The Broncos wasn't shit.
We do that to this division because every year for the last 5 years, the experts have picked the Chargers to beat the Chiefs out of the AFC West because the Chargers were the best team.
That's why.
Yeah. Sad.
The Chargers owned the 2000, and y'all were always either runner-up or not running at all.
That's why we got a Super Bowl and the Chargers don't. Since Dan Fouts was the quarterback. That's all.
Dan Fouts?
Yes.
Now, and you talking about these
Listen, I'm just saying when they last won a Super Bowl. I wasn't necessarily alive, but that's who their quarterback was. Anyway, somehow we ended up going 90 minutes on the show. So that's actually better than what we thought we'd do.
Yeah, but the verses are going to keep going. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all going to love versus stuff because we're going to keep talking about this. Because as long as there's somebody we can talk plus versus minus, we're going to talk about it. But next week, Reggie's going to say Lynn Dawson next, and he's bringing up over.
No, because
he said I'm old. He brought up Christian Okoye and Lynn Dawson.
First off, hold on. Tecmo Bowl featured both Christian Okoye and Bo Jackson. Both of them were in that game.
But you said Lynn Dawson. I'm telling you, Lynn Dawson.
I didn't say Lynn Dawson.
And the fur helmet.
I didn't say Lynn Dawson. I haven't said that. I don't know if I've ever said that on this. So
you have. We got a podcast. You said Lynn Dawson. You said you haven't won a Super Bowl since Lynn Dawson. So you had brought him
but
up.
that was the truth.
That
was the
yeah,
truth. I mean, but
but
we got one now.
It up. Yeah. So versus is spice it up. If people don't know, versus is what barbershop talk is. There ain't no barbershops right now because of social distancing. So we're gonna bring it to your household. So if you got an opinion about anybody, bring it to the table, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring it to the table. So Joel, you up next. Bring up some baseball, football. We're gonna do hockey, basketball. That's what we're talking. For sure.
So tune in next time on Underdawg Sportz. Until then, I'm Casey Reginald Jr.
Your man J-Dub in the building.
Joel Swisher, a.k.a. Jay Swish in the house.
This has been Underdawg Sportz.